Hello, Habitat friends and family. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us in our Habitat's official kickoff for Volunteer Appreciation Month. My name is Mica Stokes, and I'm the volunteer manager here for the DuPage and Chicago South Suburbs affiliates. And then joining with me is our interim executive director, Jennifer Taff. So Jennifer, I actually didn't know this until I was preparing for today, but Volunteer Appreciation Month is actually an extension of the celebratory Volunteer Appreciation Week that was first held in Canada in 1943. The week was dedicated to celebrating women for their significant contributions in collecting supplies and helping wounded soldiers during World War II. America caught on to this idea of encouraging and celebrating volunteerism in 1974 when President Richard Nixon gave an executive order.
That's amazing. Hi, I'm Jennifer Taff, Interim Executive Director for DuPage Habitat in Chicago South Suburbs. We're so excited to kick off Volunteer Appreciation Month in April, and what a great way to do that by talking to you all today about volunteering.
So what would you say it takes to be a good Habitat volunteer?
Anyone can be a Habitat volunteer. So we look for somebody that's energetic, that's willing to give back, willing to come out, give it their all, and learn some skills along the way. They can get involved either on a construction site, at one of our restores, even through one of our committees. They could be a support advocate friend through our Family Services Committee. They could be on the Finance Committee. They could come to the office. Today we have a volunteer here during his spring break, and he volunteers by shredding paper for us. So there's tons of ways to get involved, to be a volunteer.
So let's jump into some questions about volunteerism. Jennifer, how much of our mission is related to volunteers, and what would our organization look like without volunteerism?
That's a great question, Mica. Habitat was founded on volunteers throughout the 50 states and the 70 countries that we serve with our mission. I think if we didn't have volunteers, we wouldn't be as successful in providing impact and providing that affordable housing.
Do you have any favorite volunteer moments or stories?
I have many of those, and as I was thinking about this interview today, I was doing some research, like you typically do before you have an interview, and I was looking up some facts, and the HFHI website was saying that 81% of volunteers get involved to make a difference and to be social. Yeah. And what came to mind is we had two volunteers. One was actually a staff and a construction volunteer, and they had met a few times through different events and different volunteer build experiences, and it was actually Valentine's weekend, and the staff member needed something to do, and they were lonely, so I said, why don't you go out to our Valentine build? She's like, I think I'm gonna do that. Went to the Valentine build, worked alongside the construction crew leader that had been there for a very long time, and continued down that path of dating, and have been married now for about 5 years.
Oh, I love that.
So I think that's one of those rewarding volunteer experiences and impact that provides not only the give back to the families and to provide that sustainability for families, but also it provides that social outlet for those that want to get involved and give
that's
back.
Amazing. Yeah.
Do you want me to talk about another one?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Well, give us one more.
So we have a volunteer that when I started the neighborhood revitalization program in Hanover Park, this gentleman would come to every community meeting. He would come to every event, and he would kind of just stand in the background. And when I started engaging in conversation and asked him, why do you come and what's your purpose in a sense? He's like, oh, I'm just here. And throughout the years, as we continue to engage in conversation, I would say, Joe, why don't you come and sit by the table? What do you think about this? Whatever it was, events. We had a building up the community day. We've had electronic recycling events, just different ways that he could become engaged in. Over the course of 6 years now that we've been in the Hanover Park community, Joe was provided purpose in a sense in his volunteering and giving back to the community. And you can see the growth within him and the impact that it not only makes on the community, but the individual as a volunteer. So now, under your leadership, Mica, and Hanover Park, he's actually gone to village meetings and used his voice to support his community and what he believes is right and just.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Oh, I love that. I love how volunteerism just gave him an opportunity not to just benefit his community, but also gave him an opportunity to just grow as a person and as an individual. Most people come to Habitat to swing a hammer on a construction site, but there's actually other ways to support affordable housing with Habitat. Jennifer, can you list some of those ways?
Sure. You know, as I alluded to earlier in our conversation, there's different committees that are available for those to get involved that maybe don't want to swing a hammer on the job site. So an opportunity could be a family service advocate or a buddy or a mentor, whichever word you prefer to use. And this individual or volunteer helps with the family through the program and through the process of becoming a homeowner. And there's other ways to get involved through board service. We have a few different boards to get involved in, and based on skill sets, come on out, sign up. There's also the Restore. Now, how can we forget about the Restore? The Restore is an amazing opportunity to find a treasure and a diamond in the rough, per se, where you can come out and you can volunteer to sort through the donations we just received, work on the floor to organize them. You might be able to drive the truck if you ask nicely. I'm not sure about that though. We'll have to check on that. Or you could volunteer as the cashier, or even just Friday hobby wheel where you spin it and you get a discount as a local shopper. So those are just a few extra ways to get involved in Habitat if you don't want to swing a hammer.
So Jen, what would you say is the best part about being a volunteer at Habitat?
That's a good question. I would say the free swag. However, I think whether you're a corporate volunteer, an individual volunteer, in the office volunteer, Restore volunteer, the impact and the generational transformation that they are providing by their volunteer hours to provide that impact on families is probably the best part about being a volunteer at Habitat.
I love this quote from Habitat's founder, which, contrary to popular belief, is not Mr. Jimmy Carter. It is Miller Fuller, that says, "For a community to be whole and healthy, it must be based on people's love and concern for each other." Whether our volunteers come out because they're passionate about Habitat's mission, or they want to learn more on the construction site, or they're just wanting to meet new people, they truly make a difference in helping families reach the dream of home ownership. So thank you, Jen, for joining us and sharing about volunteerism. And thank you all for watching, and we will see you soon.